Hello everyone. So in last lecture we have started with new unit, that is oscilloscope, and we have seen basic block diagram of CRO, and before that we have seen introduction to CRO. Okay, and I think you have seen these previous videos, animated videos that I have shared on MT, and I think you have gone through that, because that visual understanding and that animation is very important to understand the internal working of the CRO. Because theoretically I will explain it number of times, okay, but whenever you look by animation, by means of animation or by visual we can say display, then you will get more idea about that internal working of that CRO, because we can't see electron beam directly. So in that animated videos that is shown over there with the help of some different color and how that electron beam deflects. Okay, so let's have a look on basic things that we have studied in previous lecture, that is CRO stands for cathode ray oscilloscope, which can be used to give a visual display of signals and can be used for measurement of frequency, amplitude and phase. Okay, and we have seen that CRO is having one important tube, that is a cathode ray tube, which is nothing but heart of oscilloscope, and which is most important thing inside the CRO. And the main thing is that that electron beam strikes on that fluorescent screen, and that electron beam is deflected with the help of some x and y axis, or deflection, or horizontal and vertical deflection plates. Okay, so that we will study in deep. And I think if you study the internal structure of a CRT, which is most important thing inside this chapter, then you will understand more than 50% of the working of a CRO. Okay, or even more than that. So after that we have seen this block diagram of a CRO, inside which there is horizontal plate, plates, vertical plates, deflection systems, then high voltage and low voltage supply, and this is most important thing, that is a CRT. Okay, now in this lecture we have to see the internal structure of a CRT, and we have to study in deep how it works and all other things. Okay, so these are the main building blocks of a CRO that we have seen earlier, that is CRT, vertical deflection system, horizontal deflection system, and under that we have to study delay line, trigger circuit, time base, power supply, and all these things. Okay, so let's start with the heart of the CRO again, which is most important thing, that is a CRT. So let's see this internal structure of a CRT, that is cathode ray tube. I think in animated video you have seen how the electron beam is deflected and how the electron gun is used. Okay, so again if you see that CRO, the most important part inside that CRO is cathode ray tube, that is CRT. But again if you see CRT, again heart of this CRT is a electron gun. Okay, means what, inside CRT is very important, and inside CRT electron gun is very important. Okay, so let's see different parts of this cathode ray tube, and we have to study this cathode ray tube in detail. Okay, so I think one lecture is required to study this. Okay, or more than that. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, so see here these are the pins, okay, to which the supply is applied, and this is the base. Now let's have a look on this electron gun. So if you see this electron gun, it consists of heater, then cathode, then grid, then there are three types of anodes, like pre-accelerating anode, then focusing anode, and then accelerating anode. So this is nothing but your electron gun assembly. Okay, so after that inside this, that dotted line that you are watching here, and which is shown over here with the help of some arrows, these are nothing but your electron beam, or electrons, bunch of electrons we can say. So over here these are the vertical deflection plates. Okay, and which are used to deflect your electron beam vertically. Then these are the horizontal deflection plates, which deflects your electron beam horizontally. Okay, these are the leads, and again this electron beam is applied or striked on this phosphor screen, which is nothing but fluorescent screen. And here from this side we are watching this. Okay, so this is a single dot, we can say. So the whole screen will be there, but this is a single dot. So here we are getting a visible light. Okay, and if you see some different coatings, different types of coatings are applied, like aquadag. So we will see afterwards these each and every point one by one. Okay, so let's have a look on first this electron gun assembly. But before studying that, let us see the basic working principle of this cathode ray tube. Okay, so if you see this cathode ray tube, it is having an electron gun, and this electron gun generally produces electron beam, and this beam is narrow and is allowed to pass down the tube and fall on the screen over here. Okay, the screen is formed by the flat end glass tube which is coated with the fluorescent material like a phosphor. Okay, and the point at which this electron beam strikes, the spot is formed over here. Okay, and this electron beam can be passed through two pairs of electrostatic deflection plates. So one can be called as horizontal plate and one can be called as a vertical plates. And if you see here, the voltage which are applied to these plates deflects the beam. So that's why this voltage that we are going to apply, that is very important, which plays very important role to deflect this electron beam. And whenever this electron beam is deflected, then we can see here over a signal, okay, on a screen. So in short, we can say that horizontal deflection plates move the spot in horizontal direction, and vertical deflection plates move the spot on vertical direction, or up and down. Okay, like this. And if you see this movement of these two plates, vertical and horizontal, these are independent of each other. Okay, so they are not interrelated. These are independent, and independent voltages are applied, and thus the beam may be displayed anywhere on a screen. Okay, and that is nothing but your working principle of a cathode ray tube. Okay, so this is basic working principle that you have to mention before explaining other things. That is, electron gun produces this beam, and this beam is deflected vertically, horizontally with the help of vertical and horizontal plates respectively, and this beam is spotted on or emitted on that phosphor screen, which can be a fluorescent material like. Okay, and here we are getting the signal over here. Okay, so this is the basic principle. So let's see first electron gun in deep. Okay, now if you see working principle of this electron gun, an electron gun is gun assembly consists of a heater over here, then it is having anodes and cathodes. Okay, now the anodes are generally called as focusing anodes, then pre-accelerating anodes, accelerating anodes, and there is one cathode. Okay, so the cathode emits electron beam, that is very important. Okay, and if you see, the cathode emits the electron beam, and this electron beam is accelerated with the help of anodes. Okay, now you must know the polarity of electrons, that is a negative. The electrons are having a negative, we can say electrons are a negative charge carriers. Okay, so that's why this anodes are used as accelerating and cathodes are emitting electrons. Okay, and I think you have studied in semiconductor diode, anode, cathode, electrons, then holes and their polarities. Okay, so if you are good in basics, then this will be very easy to understand. Now the velocity of such electron beam which is emitted by this cathode is very high, and when such high velocity beam strikes on the screen, a spot is created on a screen. Okay, so this is working of an electron gun, and that's why this electron gun is used. So let's talk more on this heater and cathode first. So here cathode is used to emit beam of electrons that we have discussed earlier, and for this purpose we have to heat this cathode. Okay, so that's why heater is used. Okay, now here in this case, heater is used to convert this electrical energy into heat energy, and that is applied to this cathode. and once cathode is heated, it emits electrons. Okay, so this cathode heating occurs indirectly. Heating increases the temperature of a cathode. Okay, so as discussed earlier, the heater will convert that electrical energy into heat energy. Okay, and generally if you see this cathode is in cylindrical in nature, as shown over here, and at the end of a cathode, a layer of barium and strontium oxide is deposited. Okay, so this causes the electron emission at a moderate temperature due to this layer, which is named as barium and strontium oxide layer. So at moderate, it allows the emission of electrons at moderate temperature. Okay, generally if you see the voltage requirement, you can note down the cathode requires 6.3 volt and current of 600 milliampere typically, but for if you want a higher efficiency, you may require same voltage as 6.3, but if you apply the 300 milliampere as a current, then it will work with better efficiency and will be having a good life. Okay, so this is basics about this assembly, heater and cathode. So it is very simple assembly. Again, just take a cathode and if this cathode is introduced to some temperature and the voltage like 6.3 volt and have a current of 300 milliampere, then it will emit electrons. Okay, so simple. Now let's have a look on a control grid. Okay, so if you see here, this is a grid or called as control grid. Now what is the use of this grid that we have to see over here? Okay, now once beam is emitted from this cathode, this is passed through a small hole and which is called as a control grid, in the control grid. Okay, so if you see this control grid, which is having a small hole over here, this control grid is again cylindrical in nature and it is made up of nickel material. Okay, so just note down this again, this grid is made up of nickel material. And if you see the intensity of this electron beam depends on the number of electrons that are emitted by the cathode. Again, we know that intensity of anything is depends upon inside parameters. So here in case of this electron beam, the most important parameter is nothing but your electrons, and this intensity of this electron is nothing but the intensity of your electron beam. Okay, so once number of electrons once the number of electrons are increased, then the intensity will be increased. Okay, so the intensity of this electron beam again depends upon the number of electrons which is emitted by the cathode, and the grid is given a negative bias that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so if you see here this grid is given as a negative bias, and by changing this negative bias which is applied over here in this grid, the number of electrons that are passing through this hole over here in the control grid, and this indicates that the intensity of the electrons beam can be controlled by this grid. Okay, so again, if you in short we can say that the negative bias is applied to grid to control the intensity. Okay, and in terms we can say that number of electrons passing through this hole. So this is the use of this grid. And if you see this focusing and this anodes, accelerating anodes. Okay, let's talk about this again. See here, three types of anodes are assembled over here. One is pre-accelerating anode, then the focusing anode, and the accelerating anode. Okay, so as the electron beams consist of number of electrons, it tends to diverge. Okay, so why they tends to diverge? Because as discussed earlier, they are having a negative charge carriers, or they are negative charge carriers in short, and we know that similar charge carriers try to repel each other. So that's why whenever the beam is transferred, we can say that due to that force of repulsion, it tends to diverge, but we don't want that. Okay, so this occurs because the same charge there is negative on the electron which repels each other. Okay, an adjustable electrostatic field is established between these two cylindrical anodes in order to compensate the repulsive force which causes the electron repulsion. Okay, so now this problem of the diversion of this beam can be overcome with the help of the adjustable electrostatic field. Okay, now these two cylindrical anodes are called as a pre-accelerating anodes and accelerating anodes. Okay, so this problem of diversion of this electron beam is overcome with the help of some adjustable electrostatic field, and which is offered by your pre-accelerating anode and accelerating anode. Okay, now what is the use of this focusing anode? Let's discuss over here. This focusing anode is placed in between this pre-accelerating anode and this accelerating anode. The focusing anode is used to compensate for the repulsive forces, that is, it is used to focus the electron beam again. Okay, so the name suggests it's working, it is used for the focus. And the focusing anode is cylindrical again and has a hole in the center. Okay, now let's talk about some voltages which are applied to this pre-accelerating anode and accelerating anode. Now if you see this pre-accelerating anode and the accelerating anode as well, the voltage is very high, the potential which requires is very high, and it is about 2 kilovolt to 20 kilovolt. Means this accelerating anode and this pre-accelerating anode works on 2 kilovolt to 10 kilovolt, that you have to note. Okay, and if you see this focusing anode, it works in a range from 400 to 500 volt. Okay, so again it is shown over here as a 400 volt, but it works in range that 400 to 500 based upon the type of cathode ray tube and power of that. Okay, the focusing anode is applied an adjustable voltage again, and by changing this voltage, focusing of the electron beam is achieved. And by changing the position of this potentiometer, we can change the voltage which is applied to the focusing anode. So one thing you have to keep in mind as a electronics engineer, the one basic thing is that whenever we have to apply the change in voltage, we have to just use the potentiometer so that we can adjust the voltage. Okay, so same concept is used over here, that is we can say potentiometer is used to change the voltage of the focusing anode so that we can adjust the focus of that electron beam. Okay, now the two accelerating anodes from an electronic lens, the electronic lens action is controlled by the focus control. Okay, and if you see here, if the focus control is turned to either side of its correct focusing position, the spot on the screen becomes larger and blurred. Okay, so bringing it back to the correct position brightens the spot. Okay, now let us see the next point inside this. Okay, so now we have seen about this heater, this cathode, the work of this pre-accelerating anode and accelerating anode. Okay, and we have seen that we have to create some electrostatic field in between these two cylindrical anodes in order to compensate this repulsive force. Okay, so which causes electron repulsion. Okay, and now we have seen also the focusing of this. Okay, now one thing I want to discuss with you, that is generally this electron beam can be deflected either by means of electric field or by magnetic field. Okay, so whatever the deflection system that we have to study afterwards, that is with the help of vertical and horizontal deflection plate system. But before studying that, you must know that there are two types of deflection systems. One is electric field, which can be also called as electrostatic deflection, and another thing is that that is magnetic field, which can be also called as electromagnetic deflection. Okay, and I think you have seen the old TVs or TV picture tubes. Inside that generally electromagnetic deflection is used, but if you see the oscilloscope, inside this electrostatic deflection is required or used, as it requires negligible power and supports a high frequency operation. Okay, so that's why we are using electrostatic deflection in CRO. Okay, so this thing you have to keep in mind as a general knowledge, that is electromagnetic deflection is used in TV, older TVs. I think some of students from you have seen that old TVs. But if you see the CRO, in CRO the electrostatic deflection is used. Okay, and one important thing is that we know that the electrons are negatively charged particles, and hence they are attracted by a positive charge and are repelled by a negative charge. Okay, and if you see this electron beam, it consists a stream of electrons, hence a positive field will divert the electron beam in one direction, whereas the negative field will divert the electron beam in opposite direction. Okay, so this basic theory is used for a deflection of this electron beam. Okay, again I am repeating, these electrons are having negative charge particles, or the electrons are negative charge particles, and they, due to this, they are attracted by positive charge and repelled by the negative charge. Okay, so again, if you see this electron beam, it contains a stream of electrons, therefore a positive field will divert the electron beam in one direction, whereas the negative field will divert the electron beam in opposite direction, and this characteristics of these electrons are used for the deflection. Okay, now in order to move the electron beam in this manner, deflecting plates are placed inside the CRT tube. Okay, and these are your deflecting plates, the vertical deflecting plates and horizontal deflecting plates. Okay, and but only placing of this vertical and horizontal deflection plate is not sufficient, but we have to apply some appropriate deflecting voltage. Okay, and as discussed earlier, these are the independent plates. Okay, so that's why the need to be care, or care is to be taken for applying the voltage to the vertical and horizontal deflection plates. Okay, now this external deflection voltage is applied through an internal adjustable gain amplifier to one of the plates of vertical and horizontal plates, while the other plate is grounded. Okay, so as per your convenience, you can adjust the voltage, use the polarity, but one important thing is that whenever this voltage is applied, okay, to one of the plates of vertical and horizontal, the other plate must be grounded. Okay, the external voltage is applied through external terminal called as Y input and X input. Okay, now if you see the positive voltage which is applied to the X input terminal, it will cause the electron beam to deflect horizontally towards the right, and negative voltage when applied to the X terminal will cause the electron beam to deflect horizontally towards the left. Okay, and similarly, if you apply the positive voltage to the Y input terminal, it will cause the electron beam to deflect vertically upwards, while the negative voltage applied to the Y will cause to deflect beam to deflect vertically downwards. Okay, so these two statements you have to keep in mind, because these are very important while studying working of this CRO. So we have to see this front view, and we will see how the voltages are applied to the vertical and horizontal plates, and how this movement of a spot is occurred on the screen. Okay, so there are number of cases that we have to see that. Okay, and after studying that, you will clearly understand how you are observing that different types of sine waves, square waves, different types of frequencies, that amplitude, that time period, and all other things on a CRO. So that you will study afterwards. Okay, so that is all about the inside working of the cathode ray tube. Now today we have to stop over here, because in next lecture we will start with that new point, that how the voltages are applied to the cathode ray tube, and how that vertical and horizontal deflection plates, and how you are getting that spot, and how you are getting that straight line, vertical or horizontal, at the location of that point or that beam. Okay, so just again revise this points that we have studied in this lecture, and if you have any doubts, then you can ask me. Okay, so in next lecture we will see the different voltages which will be applied to the vertical and horizontal plates, and you will clearly understand how it works. Okay, so that is very interesting, that we will see in a next lecture. Okay, so for today's lecture I think this much is sufficient, because if you see this CRO, the block diagram is very simple, but inside working is very complex, and but if you understand the basics from depth, then it will be very easy to understand the functionality of a CRO. Okay, because CRO is the most important equipment in our field, which gives you a frequency, amplitude and voltage. Okay, so that's why I am telling you that repeatedly, please revisit your basics, because study of that is very important. Okay, so thank you very much. In next lecture we will start with that different cases, okay, and we will study more about that. Thank you. Okay.